Alrighty, so we're back, and we got some more Fire Emblem Heroes content to go through today. So I've gone ahead and done an update to all of the passive skill tier lists. So we're going to be taking a look at that today with the passive A skills, B skills, and C skills. We've gotten quite a lot of new additions to the passive skills that I did not add to the tier list. So now is as good a time as any to go ahead and do that. Also, tomorrow is going to be the 1st of 2024. So, wishing you all a best New Year wishes from your boy Tacho here. Hopefully, if you manage to survive 2023, I think you'll be able to survive 2024, hopefully. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the A-slot passive tier list first. And since the last time I've made this tier list, I added a tier above S. So, we have the S plus tier now. I kind of wanted to do that also when I made the last update to this list, but I felt like it might have been jumping the gun a little to have Prime 4 in S Plus at that time. I thought Prime 4 was clearly better than all the other skills besides Flared Sparrow, which I also thought was better than all the other skills. So at this point, after having time to work with them and playtest them and use them for quite some time, I've come to the conclusion that, yeah, I don't have any issues whatsoever having an S Plus tier with Prime 4 and Flared Sparrow. They are clearly better than the other S tier A-slot passives, so no complaints there from me. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. Then we also have a brand new passive skill added since the last time I made the list, and that is going to be Attack and Speed Wild, which is coming out on the upcoming Nerthus for New Year. So that's going to drop tomorrow on the banner. Now this skill, I've got it in A tier. It's pretty much just Flash Sparrow for beast units, except there is one key difference between this and Flash Sparrow. No, it's not the 7 HP recovery. That's like a completely whatever burger to me. I don't care about that at all. What I do care about, though, is that Attack and Speed Wild is dual phase, whereas Flash Sparrow is only player phase for whatever reason. So the fact that this is dual phase gives it a clear edge over Flash Sparrow, in my opinion. So I think there's nothing wrong with this skill whatsoever. It's a beast version way to get, like, Flashing Blade to accelerate into specials. It'll be nice for Gale Force units, and they're also getting the dual phase attack and speed. So very good stuff there from Attack and Speed Wild. Unfortunately for Flash Sparrow, it's not able to make the jump into A tier, only being player phase. And that's pretty much all there was as far as A skills are concerned. This is pretty much it for how things are right now. Okay, then we move on to the passive B skills, and we've gotten quite a lot of additions here. This is like the juiciest passive skill, even from back in the day. Like, the B skill was always where all the stuff was, and that is even more so the case now. So, we've gotten quite a lot of toys to play with in the B skill. So, Tempo 4 has now became a thing. We got Speed and Defense Tempo and Attack and Res Tempo 4. Both of them are instant S tiers, in my opinion. They are better than Magic and Physical Null Follow-Up, because the tempo effect is very powerful, but it's also not common. Whereas Null Follow-Up is built into a lot of weapons already, and then even if it isn't, it's really easy to get as a support effect, with a lot of really top-tier units giving it, like Legendary Alincia and also Caden Lindy. So I don't feel like Magic Null Follow-Up is quite as good as Tempo 4, but it is what it is. I mean, it's still cutting DR in half, both of them are. And then they're still giving you really good effects. So they deserve to be an S tier. Also, for the record, I don't think there needs to be an S plus tier for the B-slot passives. I feel like all of the S level skills are pretty much on par with each other for what they do. Like, we've got the offensive skills, we've got the defensive skills, and then we have the, like, mix-up skills for units that maybe want to run something else, like staff units that have to run Dazzling or Wrathful Staff, and then dancers who want to run, like, Firestorm Dance or Rock Slide Dance and things like that. So, all of these skills seem relative to me. They're just about as powerful as each other, although mileage is going to vary depending on the unit and the build that you're running it on. Okay, we also have Occult Strike and Assassin Strike here. Now, I use Assassin Strike as the icon because I think it's a little better, but they're both really good, obviously. So, the fact that you can give them to range flyers and also range calves is very huge, because they're not able to get Tempo 4, Magic Null Follow-Up, Special Spiral 4. They can't pierce DR or cut DR. So the next best thing is just melt the enemies to death, which we've been seeing a lot lately. There's a lot of melting effects that are going around right now. So Assassin Strike and Occult Strike, being able to do that for your range calves and range flyers is very effective. Then it also gives you a bonus 20% damage based on the enemy's defense or res, which is essentially going to equate to you cutting their DR in half in the first place when you combo that with the true damage effect you're getting before combat. So this is really good, and it's basically just as good as Tempo 4 and Magic Null Follow-Up, in my opinion. We also got this new B skill here, Buffer 4, which is a big brother to Close Call 4 and all of the dodge variants. So I think Buffer 4 is actually better. Not good enough to be in its own tier, obviously, but certainly a cut above the other dodge skills. And the reason why is because it lets you loop Godlike Reflexes over and over. And Godlike Reflexes is non-pierceable DR, which is very, very good right now, because all of these effects, all these units are just piercing DR like nothing. So if you're able to have non-pierceable DR with GLR, then you're doing really good. So Buffer 4, definitely the best, I would say, best in slot dodge 4 skill at the moment. Although it's not like a crazy amount better. It's only better if you've got Godlike Reflexes, but if you're running a different special, like maybe the unit has a Perf special, or they have Vital Astra, or like Ruptured Sky, or something like that, then in that case, then I would say the other dodge skills are what you want to go for. Okay, we also have Weaving Fighter now. So this is the upgrade to Wary Fighter 3, and this one's really good because it doesn't have any redundancy with a lot of the arcane weapons, which was one of the reasons I did not like Vengeful Fighter 4 and Special Fighter 4. Both of them give you the Special Acceleration effect, which is on a lot of the arcane weapons anyway. And then Vengeful Fighter gives you a guaranteed follow-up, which is already, again, on a lot of the arcane weapons. And then Special Fighter gives you, what is it, like anti-fatal smoke? Which is, it's already a super niche skill in the first place, so like having a way around that is really weird to me. So I was never a big fan of these two skills, but I think Weaving Fighter is really good, and it's giving you 80% DR on the enemy's first attack if they are able to do a double attack. And then on the second attack they do, you're getting 40% DR, and it counts for brave hits as well. So a lot of protection there. It also comes with 7 HP recovery after combat. So you're getting quite a lot of sustain with this. It's a really nice skill. And if you're not going to run Hardy Fighter, then I think Weaving Fighter is probably the go-to. It's also really nice on units with Scowl support, so they can stop the enemies from using pre-charged specials, like if they have Special Spiral 4 or Deadeye or Lethality. It's going to be really hard for them to try and pierce your damage reduction from this. So very nice skill there. We also have the Ruse level 4s now, so a brand new effect here on these. When they are used with a rally skill, you can inflict Schism on the enemies, and Schism turns off Dual Strike and also Triangle Attack. So very good, especially in Aether Raids. A lot of people are running this in AR to deal with Catria Balls. Not that it was necessary in my opinion. Like, I don't know, I've never really struggled with Catria Balls personally, but I mean, having an answer to that is really nice. Also, in Summoner Duels, this is a really good effect too, where you can just burn an action to weaken the opponents by inflicting Schism, Guard, and Discord. And then it also does a lot of stat debuffs too. It does Speed and Defense -6, and then you're also in combat doing Speed and Defense -4. It's pretty flexible. You can give this to a lot of units. There's not really any inheritance restrictions on this skill. And there are quite a lot of units that can make really good use of it. Like, there are rally bots that have a lot of good effects, like Astrid, for example, or also Hater is another example. So, a pretty good skill. It's a little bit limited, though, in terms of like which units really optimize it the most. But you can just slap it on most things if you want to and get a lot of good debuffs on the enemies with it. So, I do think it is worthy of being an S-tier skill. Now, we also have Beast Agility 4, which is a new skill that was introduced on Ratatosker. So this one gives you Null Follow-Up, removes the transformation condition from Beast units. It does Speed and Defense -4 on the opponent, and then you also get 10% bonus damage based on speed. This could have been an S tier, I feel like, if it gave a better effect than just Null Follow-Up, but Null Follow-Up alone, I mean, a lot of Beast units come with that. I believe Arcane Nihility, which is the Arcane Beast weapon, also has built-in Null Follow-Up anyway. So, not quite as good as Beast Sense 4. I think Beast Sense 4 is a little better, giving you the dodge effect and also the Phantom Speed Light. So I would rather have that than have null follow-up and bonus damage based on speed. If only it had a better effect than null follow-up, then I would have actually had this in S tier probably. And I believe that's just about all of the new skills added to the B-slot passives. I don't think anything else was changed since the... Oh, we also have Flow Refresh. My bad, guys. Before we move on to the next C-slot passive tier list, we have to talk about Flow Refresh. So I've got it in the B tier. It's okay. It's not like anything crazy or nothing like that. It gives you half a null follow-up when you initiate. It gives you 40% DR when you initiate, and then it also heals you by 10 HP after combat. So it's okay. It's like a nice, well-rounded skill. But I feel like if you're going to get player phase half a null follow-up, you want to go all in on offense. So I favor Flow Desperation a little bit more, along with like Counter Roar, Brash Assault, Desperation 4, even Beast Agility, as we just talked about. If you're going to player phase, you want to go all in. You don't want to like try to well-round yourself with DR and healing. Just like go balls to the walls offense. So I've got this in the B tier. It's not a bad skill though. It's certainly serviceable if you get it. And then finally, the C-slot passive tier list. So prior to this, on the last version of this tier list, I had Times Pulse 4 in the S+ tier alongside Guidance 4 and Soaring Guidance, but at this point, that just feels silly. Like, there is a clear difference in power between these two skills and all the other skills, in my opinion. So I've dropped Times Pulse 4 down to the S tier. Now, we do have quite a couple of skills that were added here, so Deadly Miasma, which is on the Legendary Camilla. It's basically the upgrade to Savage Blow 3, and it's a really strong skill. It's really limited, though. It's only for flying units, and unfortunately, as we see here, flyers have something better that they want to do. But you can still get a lot of mileage out of this. It's doing an Omni all stats -5 on the enemy, and then it also has a null effect where you're nullifying their bonuses. So it's just a better version of the dual skills, in my opinion. Like, or not dual, the feud skills, where like Colorless Feud is doing all stats -4 if you're fighting a colorless enemy. But just doing all stats -5 with the null effect against everybody, regardless of color, is really strong. Then it also sets up the Miasma tiles as a Divine Vein effect. So you can overwrite enemy Divine Veins like Divine Vein Stone or Divine Vein Flame and things like that if you need to like change the terrain for some reason. So a pretty good effect, very strong skill. It also has chip damage after combat, but chip damage prior to combat is a little bit better. That's the only thing. We also have Insight Attack and Speed, really good skill added for cavalry and infantry types. Now, you might think infantry don't really need it because they've got Pledge 4 and also Oath 4 already, but that's actually not the case. Insight can be used pretty effectively on cav units or infantry units as well, because they're getting a lot of stats out of the Insight status effect. And Oath 4 kind of devalued a little bit. Not really, but like kind of. If you're a whale and you've got access to the Echo skill, because Attack Oath Echo can be ran in tandem with Pledge 4 and also Insight 4, or Insight Attack Speed, in order to give you 2 start of turn bonuses. You can get the Warp effect and then either Insight or Special Acceleration. So with 2 bonuses and with one other ally that gives 2 bonuses as a support, you can instantly charge up your Prime 4 and be ready to go. So I've got Insight in the S tier. It's really good. And I believe that's just about it. No, we also have Fatal Smoke 4. Okay, yeah, super niche skill. I've got it in the A tier. Nothing too crazy about this skill. I mean, it's anti-miracle and also anti-healing, but that's pretty rare in the first place. It's good against like Fallen Maria and Duo Ymir, but that's about it. And there's no guarantee those units are even going to show up. They're pretty common, but not like guaranteed to be in the enemy's team. So I've got this in the A tier. It's still got its uses. It's nice on Aether Raid's defense teams, though, if you're trying to like bully Omni tanks and like save units and things like that so they can't heal. So it's okay, but it's not crazy. And then we also have Infantry Null Follow-Up 4, which is the upgrade to Infantry Null Follow-Up. This skill gives you the Null Follow-Up effect to your ally now. This one only gave it to the allies in 2 spaces that were infantry type. But this one does that, and then it also gives it to yourself as well. So the unit that's running this is still getting something out of it. And then you also get the Warp effect too. So you're able to warp to allies that are within 2 spaces, which is pretty cool. 2 effects right there. So again, if you're running Prime 4, you're getting yourself set to go with the distant counter or close counter portion of that effect. So pretty good. And we also have 1 skill that I bumped up. We have Snap. So Speed and Defense Snap and Attack and Speed Snap 4. I decided to just bump them into the S tier because bonus movement is really good. I mean, I had them in the A tier, which is respectable, but nah, man. These need to be in the S tier. They are on a level close to Guidance 4 and Soaring Guidance, but not quite. Depending on the map, these can put in just as much work, but it's not always going to be the case. So you also cover way more ground with Guidance 4 and Soaring Guidance. So I have to give the edge to those, but this is still really good. Snap is still really good. So I think that just about covers us for all of the new passive skills. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about all of the updates to the tier list. And this is your boy Tacho signing out. So take care, fellas. Once again, have a very happy new year. And I'll see you guys again in 2024.